So in all of our talking the last few days about MBTI stuff and relationships, and it occurred to me once I'd heard about the types in your families, respectively, that maybe part of how you two work so well together has to do with having had a kind of training ground in your families of origin with types very unlike yourself, but aspects of those types being in common with your spouse. And yeah, and you guys, I'm totally leading now, but you agree with that? You think that might be part of it?
No, and that's something that we've talked about plenty of times before we ever met you, so I don't feel like you're leading us into that one.
Okay.
No, it's so true. It's so true.
Okay,
Absolutely.
cool. So when you told me what the different types were, of course I got the pad of paper and the pencil and started scribbling away and looking at it. And in my completely non-professional manner, what I thought would be probably the type signature for your family, Shanna, would be ENFP. And for your CT, I thought it would probably be more SFJ anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Say that, SFJ, that tells you something.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. So then what I think would be, I'd like to know from you two is how do you think your experience with your families of origin, um, how, how has that helped you in your relationship with your spouse?
Go first.
Okay. So I always say that that I am a J that grew up in a family of P's. I was always the one who was like, oh, I think I want to clean this thing. I don't really know how to clean these things. I've never seen someone clean things, but I'm gonna do it. So by growing up in a family where it was, the plan is always changing. Everyone's always excited about something over here, something over here. And that was normal, and it didn't occur to me necessarily that I was different. Like, it wasn't so striking or so uncomfortable. It was totally comfortable. But that kind of long-term practice made me much more flexible than a lot of my J friends. And so I'm a lot more comfortable with, like, I want to know that there's a plan, but I just knowing that a plan exists is enough for me. I don't necessarily actually have to follow the plan, as long as I know that in a pinch, if all hell breaks loose, we can follow that one plan and we can get to safety. So, but I don't really. Once it's there, it's fine. Because how boring would life be if you had to follow the plan that you made in the morning for the entire day, every day? So that made it, I think, a lot easier for, to be able to help learn to create some structure, but not box in the P, because I have a great respect for that spontaneity and that the excitement and happiness that can come from a little bit of chaos. So yeah.
And so I grew up in an SFJ family, so raised by a group of J's. And so I think one of the biggest things was to know to not force is the wrong word, is that my family really cherished having and operate better when there is a plan. It causes them to, it gives them relief to have a plan and to try and follow it as best as they can. And whilst growing up, I may not have always appreciated it. I learned to do that. And I learned that, sometimes you have to have a plan, and you have to kind of follow through in order to have a successful life. But as far as how it applies to Shauna and I, It allows me to be patient, because big there's a big piece of me that, especially when all I want to do is go and explore and bounce, and I get this spontaneous urge. I learned by interacting with my family that I can't just do that, because that's not their pace, and way of that's not their approach on the world. And so I learned patience, um, for whatever internal pushing I wanted to do. I learned to slow down for a second and let the plan form, and to let people, kind of come up with that.